Well, no matter where you live, tomorrow's State of the Union address is expected to be a chance for President Biden to focus on his administration's handling of the economy, focusing on the big wins, right? However, a new ABC Washington Post poll finds 4 in 10 Americans say they're worse off financially since President Biden took office. That's the highest number recorded in that poll in 37 years. Niall Stanage, White House columnist for The Hill, joins me right now. You know, every time, Niall, we talk about the economy, I feel like there's such a contradiction. You know, we say, oh, more jobs were added. We just don't have that many people to work them. So President Biden is saying jobs are up, wages are up. That's true. Inflation is down. Also true. Yet with all the people who were polled saying that they're falling behind financially, is the White House just producing spin here, or is there a disconnect between the statistics and Main Street?
There is a disconnect, and you put it very well just now. The problem, in short, is that there is no data point or statistic that will trump people's personal experience. And the universe of people who are affected by the worst element of the Biden economy, which is inflation, is a far bigger universe than those affected by the best element, which is job creation. Now, the president does have a story to tell on job creation, for sure. 12 million jobs since he took office, 500,000 just last month. But we're talking, of course, of a nation of 330 million people. And Adrienne, I'm sure you've had the same conversations I've had over the past year with people for whom inflation has just been a searing experience, and one that has made it difficult to make ends meet. And that's the bottom line.
Also, we came off of a time when people were receiving loans, they were receiving extra money, some added incentives from the government because of the COVID situation. And a lot of people spent a lot more money than saved it. But the president's approval rating hovering just around 40%, down from last year, and approaching the lowest point of his presidency. So does it seem like the obvious hallmarks of winning, which we just talked about, are not exactly enough to do a victory lap over?
No, I think that's right. I think it's very difficult to take a victory lap right now when President Biden's approval ratings are stuck down there. There was a little bit of an upswing after the midterm elections when obviously Democrats did better than expected. But we're talking about a pretty modest window, quite a low wattage boost that he got there. And that seems to have returned more to the current levels you just cited, 40%. That's very tough for any incumbent president to overcome.
Yeah, absolutely. And predictably, President Biden and former President Trump, neither one is the most popular among voters in terms of running again. But who else is going to run? It seems as though we have this shortage of viable leadership besides those who have already been sitting presidents.
Well, that's right, isn't it? I mean, President Biden is fond of citing a saying of his father's, which is, don't compare me to the almighty, compare me to the alternative. And what is the alternative for either Democrats dissatisfied with President Biden or Republicans dissatisfied with President Trump or former President Trump? You have to look not just at saying, do we want this person or someone else? The question is, who is that someone else? And, you know, for Democrats, the 2008 version of Barack Obama isn't available. And for Republicans, the 1984 version of Ronald Reagan isn't available. So you have to work with what you have. And therein lies the problem for both parties.
Well, I think there's a Hail Mary coming from both parties for those kinds of candidates, because wouldn't that be nice for those parties? Thank you very much, Niall. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.